Welcome to This Week in Money. I'm Jim Goddard. Today, Chartworks CEO Ross Clark takes a look at the major markets over the past week and how we're doing since the bump down at the start of the month. Noted high-end West Vancouver real estate agent Allan Angell tells us that the boom is definitely over for the high-end property market. He explains a certain group of homeowners won't sell when prices are low but would rather hold on for the long term. He also believes that the BC NDP government attack on high-end homes will not make housing more affordable for the average citizen. Plus, at the end of the show, we'll have a company showcase update with American Manganese CEO Larry Reaugh. We'll talk to Ross Clark right after this.
I'm Greg Johnston, CEO of Carl Data Solutions, an industrial Internet of Things company that provides big data solutions for monitoring critical infrastructure. Carl Data offers machine learning and predictive analytics features through our cloud-based applications to deliver key asset-saving operational insights from massive amounts of data. Carl Data trades on the CSE, symbol CRL, and the Pink, symbol CDTAF. For more details on Carl Data, please visit carlsolutions.com.
I'm Bill McWilliam, President of Cascadero Copper, CCD on the TSX Venture Exchange. Cesium is one of the world's rarest metals with a growing industrial demand. Drilling is underway on our Tehran property in Argentina to prove up a cesium resource. Cascadero's patent-pending leach process has the potential to make Cascadero the lowest cost supplier of cesium in the world. Visit our website, cascadero.com, or phone us at 604-924-5504.
Welcome to This Week in Money, the source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Ross Clark, CEO of Chartworks. Welcome back to the show, Ross.
Good to be with you, Jim.
After the slightly bigger than expected bump off the start of the month for the major markets, how have they reacted since then, and what hasn't reacted well?
Well, I guess, this is a tale of definitely two different markets out there. When you take a look at, the extent and severity of the break, that 10 to 12% move into February the 9th, you got that quick reaction back and then pause through the better part of this last week, although some strength at the tail end. But, you've got some of those indices which were doing exceptionally well, like the technologies group there. They've recovered back a good 85 to 90% already of the losses, and the leaders like Amazon are back to old highs again. So the old momentum plays seem to be working still. If we look at the broader indices, the S&P and Dow, you're up back, retracing a good 65-70% of the break. And NASDAQ's done a little bit better. It's more into the 80% bracket. On the Canadian side of the border here, we just can't seem to get all that much of a bid. Decent run at the end of the week, but we're still down on the year. So this Canadian market is more of one for real stock pickers rather than being there for the general move in terms of the indices.
The Canadian dollar, what kind of a ride is it in for?
Well, this has been an interesting one. We always like to, look at the resource side of the economy in Canada and still see that as an important factor when it comes to the currency action. And, also interest rate spreads can have a factor there as well. But I always like to look at the divergences when the Canadian dollar is relatively strong to commodities or relatively weak to it. And the most recent action here, we have started to see what I think is a pretty big warning sign. Into the January rally for commodities, a weak U.S. dollar, the Canadian dollar managed to do reasonably well. But in the last couple of weeks here, and in particular this last week, you've seen lumber move up to new all-time highs. You've got the grain market strong. You've got an energy market which has come back exceptionally well. And we recognize, yes, that Canada has landlocked oil that creates a big problem from a pricing perspective. However, the Canadian dollar gave up 1.5 cents during the week when it shouldn't have. It should have shown strength relative to the U.S. dollar in the environment that we have right now. And if we look back on this type of thing, I guess the last time we saw this was back in 2017. The early part of that year, we dropped about 4 cents in the next 3 months. You go back to 2016, the same type of thing. We dropped from 77 down to 75. And in 2013, we were up around par on the Canadian dollar. We dropped a good 3 cents in the next 3 months and then continued on after that. So right now, I think you could be looking at the Canadian dollar easily giving up here. Another 2 to 3 cents being pretty significant. And, for anybody from investment perspective, they'd want to make sure that they've got their U.S. investments fully loaded up relative to the Canadian.
What's behind this drop if we have good commodity prices?
That's too hard to say. Is it, I look at it from I hate to do this outside of the technicals, but, from a political perspective, let's take a look at the leadership that we've got around here. It's with various trade deals sort of falling flat on their face, things just are not looking good from an economic point of view there moving forward. Yeah, the economy's been strong, but everybody's trying to slow down the housing market, which has been one of the biggest parts of the economy, especially out here in the West. So, I think there's some concerns out there, and rightfully so.
Do you feel, too, that maybe the Canadian government has to do more to be tax competitive with the U.S.?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, look at we're moving in two opposite directions here. If you're forget about whether you're an American looking to invest here. Just look at if you're an international player looking to invest, where you're going to push your money. We're well down the list at this point. There's no doubt about that one. So, why take the chance? Why buy Canadian oil when you can go buy U.S. product, where they're now shipping big time out of the Gulf here, rather than being in Canada? And from our perspective, I think you want to be looking for, as I say, reasons to be long Canada other than very short term, and I just don't see them. You take a look in an environment where you've got, you can either buy the most resilient items on corrections when you get a hiccup like we did here in this last month, or you buy the most oversold items for a quick bounce. I mean, GE would be a prime example. It was the worst performing Dow stock last year. And in the first 10 days of this year, it was the best performing Dow stock. And where is it now? It's back at new not 52-week lows, multi-year lows. So it had a great move off a bottom. I think it was like a 12% move, and there's no stability in that move. That's where I look at Canada and say, it's probably some good short-term opportunities there, maybe in the oil market or in the utilities, which is where I think we're oversold enough for some good trades. But I don't think you want to overstay the welcome. I think you probably look at it as trades that are good for a month or two at the most, and then take that money and look for another opportunity. But that's for the very nimble. I think for the longer term investor, I just don't see the value right now in Canada. Maybe we'll get that down the road, but it just doesn't seem to be there as of yet.
Ross, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome, Jim.
My guest has been Ross Clark, CEO of ChartWorks. You can contact him at ross.clark@chartworks.ca. Coming up, Allan, Mark Angell, next on This Week in Money.
Always consult your investment professional before making any investment decision.
Cypress Development Corp's flagship lithium project is located just east of Albemarle's Silver Peak mine in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. A 12-hole exploration drill program for lithium-enriched claystone on Cypress's 100% controlled properties is now underway. Cypress Development Corp trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the Pink CYDVF, and on Frankfurt C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Glance Technologies owns and operates Glance Pay, a disruptive mobile payment technology now live in 16 cities in Canada and about to launch in the US. With revenues up 664% in the last quarter, Glance Technologies has the potential to be a worldwide leader in an industry projected to grow to $1.3 trillion in 3 years. Glance Technologies stock symbols are GLNFF in the US and GET in Canada. Find out more at glancepay.com.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp Inc., MGI on the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected high-grade gold, including 16.9 meters of 13.58 grams and 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program is planned to further evaluate previously identified subsurface high-grade gold mineralization. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
This Week in Money is archived online at talkdigitalnetwork.com.
Welcome back to This Week in Money. I'm Jim Goddard. My guest is Allan Angell. He's one of the top realtors in Canada, having sold over 4,000 properties. He specializes in high-end real estate with Angell Hassman Realty. He's based out of West Vancouver. You can find him online at theangellgroup.com. That's spelled Angell group.com. Allan, welcome to This Week in Money.
I thank you, Connie, for having me on.
The phrase of the week, and it's the scariest probably, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The BC budget was released on Tuesday. Real estate, a key focus. They had something like 30 points about housing. What changes did the NDP government announce for real estate, and how are these changes likely to affect the market?
Well, I guess to answer that question, you have to know what's been going on in the market. Our market has been at an all-time high price-wise for a few years. In 2016, the government started to change things. The market collapsed in May of 2016, which most realtors and most of the general public have no idea that that's what happened. If you go back to 2016, the first 6 months of 2016 was the second best 6 months in history for total sales. After the government got involved in it, the last 6 months of 2016 were the second worst. So that was the end of our world as we know it. The government stopped. You couldn't flip houses, which I thought was a good. I don't like the flipping. It bothered me. I wouldn't allow my company to do that. They put in the 15% tax, so they started to change things. They increased the property purchase tax. So now, basically, what they have done now, they've attacked the high-end houses. They're trying to make them pay the price for. They're trying to raise money. That's what they're trying to do. Now the property purchase tax has gone up to. It was 1% at the 200,000 and 2% the balance. They increased it to 3%. Now they've increased it to 5%. Now problem is when they increased it to 3%, when they put the 15% tax, our market absolutely got crushed. 2016 we had 818 sales. Last year, I'm talking about West Van, last year we went down to 518 sales. Third worst year in history. Vancouver West went down last year, was their second worst year in history. The second worst in total sales. The worst year is 1,025, and they had 1,045 sales. So really, the government stepping in. Plus the fact that, overseas they got tougher in getting the money out of Iran and China, that all contributed to it. But what the government did by stepping in, they have now just made it harder and harder for us to buy houses. Now the pretense was, well, we're going to stop the Chinese from buying, but really the Chinese have a lot more money than most of us here, so the only ones who get hurt are the normal people who lived here all their life because the property purchase tax and they have to scrounge up the money. So now they've increased it to 5%, and they put in the 20% foreign buyers tax, which isn't such a big thing because we don't get that many foreign buyers things. But what the government hasn't realized here, what they're doing is causing the market to absolutely be crushed in total sales. So the money that they're going to raise because of the property purchase is going to be a lot less because they've increased it. So they haven't done anything. The only guarantee we have by the NDP government coming in as your house prices are going to be lowered. I could never understand why we all work hard to build up the equity in our home. The government seems to think their job is to take the equity out of our home, and the NDP especially. I have no idea why anybody would vote for NDP, because they said you're losing. If you're a homeowner, you're losing money on your home. That's what they're going to accomplish. All these promises in their budget, I don't think there's going to be a chance they're going to achieve them. But what they are going to achieve, your house will probably drop another 10%. Since 2016, your house has dropped about 12% in value. It'll probably drop another 10%. That's what they have achieved by the budget in there. The only positive thing that I can see, and this may not happen, but I like to be optimistic about it, the Chinese market dropped about 7-8% last year in total sales because the government started to change the rules. So they have sat back and haven't wanted to buy because they've been afraid of what the NDP is going to do. They weren't here before. Most of them weren't here when the NDP was in power. They weren't here before, so they waited and waited. Now they know what the rules are, so maybe a few of them will come back in the market because they now know what's the worst that can happen. So if we're really optimistic, we could argue that maybe it'll stabilize now. Even though we have to pay more taxes, it might stabilize the market. But certainly, prices are going to continue to drop.
Allan, how does attacking high-end real estate make housing more affordable for the average guy? How does it?
It doesn't. There's no chance on earth. You got to realize the high-end market is about 70% for, Chinese or Iranian buyers. Now, one good thing about this is everybody's been mad at the Chinese because they have so much money. They've come in and driven our market up. So if you're a homeowner, you made a lot more money because of the Chinese. The market ended. It started to adjust. But the good thing about this is the Chinese refuse to take losses on their houses, so the market hasn't dropped as much as it could. Back in 2008, the last crash we had, I'll give you an example. At 2006, I sold a house for $6.2 brand new. Next year at Christmas time, I bought him an offer for $8.9 non-subject offer. And I said to the guy, I said, the market's going to crash next year. I can just tell you, because this is all I do is analyze the market. It's going to crash next year. And he was only here in a 2-year contract. So he says, well, because I'm a realtor, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. So they didn't take the deal. I sold it 8 months later for $465. So half of what he got 8 months or earlier than that. So when you analyze that, that's what can happen in the market. It's happened 2 or 3 times in my career, because I've been a realtor since the 70s. The Chinese have stopped that from happening because they won't. I had 5 offers with the Chinese last month, and they will not take big losses on their houses, so they'll take them off and rent the houses out instead. So the high-end market, everybody thinks, yes, the high-end market slows down, but all of it, it's all slowed down. You have very little chance to sell a high-end in houses at all right now, but it doesn't matter when you're $5 million, which we don't consider to be a high-end house. It's so much harder.
What are the BC government changes likely to do to the psychology of the real estate market?
Well, we get depressed. I was with 2 of my Chinese clients yesterday, and they don't, as they say, we were invited to come into your country, then our government's attacked us ever since we have been here. It doesn't give confidence in our new cultures who are here at all. So it doesn't give us any good feeling what the government did. Why they intervene in my business, I have no idea. It just bothers me immensely that people. My attitude about the government is very simple. If I'm really successful in my business, I don't have time to go and run for politics. But I'm not successful, I'll go and run for politics to get the pension. So basically our governments are run by average individuals, and they make all the rules, and most times they're wrong. We have the same issues here we do in the States. As Trump said, you have to drain the swamp. There's no doubt in my mind it's exactly the same here. When I see the decisions that the superintendent of insurance is making, things that I say, are these guys nuts? Have they any idea what goes on? They don't know a thing about our business. And that's because we have the wrong people in power all the time.
Do you analyze the market with real-time statistics?
Every single day I do that. Now, the difficulty with our market is this. The real estate board puts out the stats the first of every month, how many sales there were for last month. Now, that's what the 98% of the realtors, or even 99%, use those stats. The trouble with those stats is that they're not the correct stats. Because I go through every sale. I find out, was it a Caucasian buyer, a Chinese buyer, an Iranian buyer, and I find out when was the sale done. The market is changing every single day. The trouble with the board that they put out to the newspapers and the government, they'll take January, for example, and they'll say, okay, we had 17 sales in West Vancouver or 48 sales in Vancouver West. But those figures are not on deals written for that month. Those figures are deals handed in. The reason they do that is because the January sales may take till the middle of February to all the sales come in, because all the deals in the month are subject to something. So it may take 10 days, 2 weeks to firm them up. So the board can't go on the first of the month and announce the sales and change them the next day. They won't do it. So they have a policy. Just how many deals are ahead. It doesn't matter. The deal might have been written 4 months ahead of time. Somebody said, well, it was handed in January, so they call it a January sale. But that doesn't tell us what the market's doing. And that can be a huge difference in the market. I'll give you an example. A year ago, Christmas time, the average Christmas sales are 33 in West Van. They reported 31 sales, so just 2 below the average. The actual sales actually for December were 17. Those figures are such a discrepancy. So if I'm the average realtor and I say, oh, I was just about an average month because that's what the board says, that's great. But if you know there was only 17, you know the market is changing, what the market is doing. So if you don't do real-time sales, you're just going to be an average realtor. The reason I became so successful in 8 years, became the top realtor in Canada, because I knew the board how to do the deals properly. I'm a stats stuff, and I do that. So you have to analyze what is going on today, not what happened in the last 3 or 4 months. Real-time stats are the only stats that you can use.
Do real estate boards like to move certain statistics around because they're allowed to, or take stuff from a neighboring community and add it to their stats?
I don't think they take it from outside the area. But what they, as I said, what they do, they pick. I'll give you. I had a deal a couple of months ago. It was in the sixes, $6 million, and I got a guy an offer for 5.9. Now, he didn't know me. His father passed away. In the will, I got the house. He lived in Australia, so he didn't know me from Adam. So I sent them the offer, and I said, listen, the market is terrible here. I want you to take this deal. He says, Allan, I'm going to send you an article. So he sent me a thing that the real estate board had just put out, and it said market up over last year. All these government changes haven't affected the market. So he called me back and says, okay, now, so you tell me the market's bad, but there's the real estate board saying that the market's up over last year. So who's telling the truth? So I said, because I know the stats, I said, yes, the board does not lie. But, you know, their job is to make the market look as good as you possibly can so people will buy houses. So they didn't lie, because the year before for the same month, we had 22 sales. This year we had 29 sales. So it's up 7 sales. So that's the truth. But what they didn't tell you was that the average sales for that month is 59 sales. So you've left with an impression that the market's up. The truth is, it's only half of an average market. That's how bad the market it actually is. The other thing I want to touch on, I told the owner, I said, you're in the 6.3 asset. This is a 5.99 offer. In your price range, $6 million, $7 million. There's 42 houses on the market. 42 houses. We're selling 1 house a month. 1 a month. So we have 42 months of inventory. So the man says, Allan, thank God my dad chose you. He signed the offer, and it was done. Because the stats, you have to know your stats. Stats are the most important thing we have in our business, because it helps you close the deal.
When did the high-end market roll over?
May of 16. Even the board was on in August of 16 saying the market's still great. Maybe if the government knew what the true facts were about the market, and as I said, most people don't know, because the guys at the board are guys who work there. They're not realtors. They work there. They put out the stats and they think, well, let's try to make it encouraging. So so maybe if the government knew the truth about the market, they wouldn't have put so many things in. I honestly believe I know more about the market than any realtor, because I spend the amount of hours I spend analyzing is unreal, because I have to close deals. It helps me close the deals. So maybe if they had told the truth the whole way or had interviewed a guy like me, they might not have put so many changes in, because all they're doing is hurting the real estate market. So if you're a homeowner, you're losing money because of the government. So you can thank the NDP. They're going to cost you 10% of your house drop in price.
We'll have more with Allan Mark Angell next on This Week in Money.
MGX Minerals is revolutionizing the new energy economy with patented lithium extraction technology, replacing traditional solar evaporation using low-cost, low-energy nanofiltration. The first system of this paradigm shift technology is currently being commissioned. MGX Minerals trades on the CSE, symbol XMG, the OTCQB, symbol MGXMF, and Frankfurt, symbol 1MG. For more information, visit our website, mgxminerals.com.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain's Brunswick property is located in the Reaugh Shear Zone in Ontario, with grab samples running as high as 32 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program to test numerous targets located by recent groundwork is planned for early 2018. Please visit our website at rmroyalty.com.
Allan Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Allan's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at allanresources.com.
This Week in Money is archived online at talkdigitalnetwork.com.
Welcome back to This Week in Money. I'm Jim Goddard. I'm speaking with Allan Mark Angell, one of the top realtors in Canada. He's with Angell Hassman Realty. Allan, when it comes to interest rates, is that what makes the real difference in whether you can afford real estate or not?
Yes, it depends what culture we have three. We have the old Caucasian have been here forever, the European, the Iranian, the Chinese. With the people that have been here forever, the Caucasian, interest rates is hugely important because our taxes are high. We don't make as much money as other areas in the world, so it affects us hugely when they go up. A lot of people can't buy. The new mortgages, I laugh at the government because they say we're trying to lower prices so that more people could buy houses. Well, that does not work, especially when the banks are now making a new stress test. Used to be able a house a few years ago with 95% finance, even 100%. Now, basically, if you don't have about 50% down, you have no chance to buy a house. There's what they should be looking at right now again, instead of just increasing the property purchase tax. The interest rate is hugely important to us, but it isn't as important to the other cultures who bring the money into the country, and they have a lot of it, and they don't care.
Are high-end homes continuing to be listed for sale with 2016 asking prices?
No, because most of the people know now. Because as I say, when the first thing that I always do, I analyze how many houses in every price range. Like if I take Vancouver West, over $10 million, there's 63 on the market. 63. So now I look at them, I say, okay, how many houses over 10 million are being sold each month? There's 2 a month. 2 a month. So I look at my seller and I say, okay, listen, there's 63 to choose from, and we're going to sell 2 this month. We're going to sell 2 the next month. So in other words, we have 31 months of product to sell all the existing, but if no market on the market. You can do that with every price range. In the 5 million, there's 129, there's 88 on the market, and 5 are selling a month. So that's 18 months. So if a realtor is good and knows how to do his stats properly, he shows the seller and says, listen, you have 2 of these are going to sell this month of 63. If you don't price it sharp, you have no hope. You can't be overpriced, because now most of us, we turn houses down all the time now. I don't want to list. When I was in my prime number 1 every year, I'd listed 40 or 50 houses on the go. Now I don't take any more than 10 or 12, because I'm a much better realtor with it because it's very tough to handle 50 houses you tried to handle. But you don't have to price them sharply. If they're too high, we turn them down. Give them to someone else. But you have to have the stats. The trouble is, if you don't do your stats properly, how do you convince a guy that? So you have to know your realtor has to be skilled. I totally believe it. In every profession, there's 2 or 3 guys that are the best at it, whether you're a lawyer, doctor, realtor, athlete. 2 or 3 of the top best. Few are good, and all the rest. Most people are in there, all the rest phase, and that's why we have the problem. See, you have to do your stats.
How far would sellers of high-end properties have to drop their prices now to find buyers?
Well, I just said in West Vancouver we're selling one a month. Vancouver we're selling 2. So you have to look at it. Isn't a matter how far. You have to look. The realtor has to know the existing product, and that's what makes it very tough for our business. Because so many of our realtors now, like in West Vancouver, I checked every sale last year. 49% of our sales came from realtors outside the area, Burnaby, Vancouver. They came over here. So now that amazes me because you're dealing with a realtor who doesn't know the area. They can't tell you the value of the home because I'm not going to pretend that I can go to Point Grey and set a value there because haven't seen the other houses sold, so I can't. So it makes it so much better. So you just have to deal with a realtor who knows what's on the market and say, listen, I have to make you in the best price 3 or 4 houses in this range. To do that, here's the price. So it varies from what price range you're in. But the high end, as I said, the high end, if your house is worth $6 million and 2.6, it's now worth 5 at the best. Or 2.16, sorry.
Is the condition of the high-end real estate market a warning signal for the rest of the market?
No, it's all soft. I don't care what price range you're in. Like even in a $3 million range in West Van, which is just a lot, you're selling there's 167 for sale, and we're selling 6 a month. So that's 27 months to sell the product. So it's the same in every price range. But the realtors have to be prepared to tell the sellers this is what is going on. They have to tell the sellers the truth.
Are the banks making it tougher to get high-end mortgages?
It's impossible. They're making it so tough. You see this money laundering thing they're all taught. No, there's a lot of that is going on. Have I ever seen any indication of it? No. I mean, I get a new Chinese client. I don't know him from Adam. He calls me to show a house. I have to sign a document. Is he low risk, high risk, or medium risk? How am I supposed to know? I have no idea. I've just met the guy today, buys the house. He goes to the bank. He has a $400,000 deposit check. I have no way of knowing why the government's trying to put the onus on us to do this when if they're going to allow these people in the country to do just like they do this, that you have to vet it and know who they are. I can't phone the bank and they're not going to give me any information on the man. The government just using this as an excuse for not doing their job.
What percentage of homes in West Vancouver are mortgage-free?
Well, there's no way of knowing that, but I would guess it's less. I would guess 15% at the best. See, even the foreign buyers, the Chinese will come in with a lot of money, or the Iranians will. If they haven't been here long, they will put down. If they buy an $8 billion house, they will put down 4 and get a mortgage for 4 billion because they want to establish credit in the company. I mean, in the country. So none of them come and pay $8 million cash for an $8 billion house. They all want to establish because they're going to be staying here the rest of their life or most of their life here, and so they want to establish credit here. So they put a mortgage on every deal you do with them. It's at least half down, and the rest is by way of the bank mortgage.
What is a double-ended sale, and is it good or bad for buyers and sellers?
Well, our government, Superintendent of Insurance, is trying to stop that. Now, what it means is this: it really, my way of believing, I love a double-ended sale. Basically, it means I get called to list a house. I put Mr. and Mrs. Jones' house on the market. Now, I look at all my few thousand sales of that, and I say, okay, is there any of my buyers that might be interested in this house? So I will call them, maybe 3 or 4 that this house may suit the bill. So I'll call them up and I'll say, listen, I just put a house on the market. It's ideal for you and your family. So I basically list and sell the house. I double in the house. So basically, that's a good deal for both parties because, number one, my client has now got first crack at buying the house. Number two, the owner has got somebody in there quickly. And most times you're going to get a better deal because the guy realizes if he buys his house today, he's got the house. So he'll probably pay a little more because he's got first crack at buying it. So now you can argue, well, it isn't properly being exposed. But the first guy, because he's got first, he will go in there and pay a little more. Plus the fact, the confidence, because both of them, both buyer and seller will know that realtor and they trust that realtor. And trust is so important in our business, probably more in our business than any other. So they will believe what the realtor says. If you're dealing with a realtor you don't know, you automatically think, well, is this guy telling me the truth? Is he lying to me? I don't know. Everybody thinks, the board's trying to change, the government's trying to change all the rules. They're assuming every realtor is a crook, and they're not going to tell the truth. It makes the deal much easier. Plus the fact, guaranteed, the buyer will say, well, listen, you're doubling the house. Can you give me something back? So it makes it easier to close the deal. It's a lot smoother. Now, there's a few realtors you can't trust, but it's the same old story. Just because there's a few bad apples, you need to change the rules and make it so nobody can double in the deal. I mean, it's insane that if I have a client for a house I got listed, I may have sold them 3-4 houses. I can't deal with that client who trusts me completely, and it makes it much easier to close the deal for both sides. But they're stopping us from doing that. Now you have to deal with a total stranger who you don't know.
Where do you market to find buyers for high-end homes?
Well, basically, it's most realtors just list and hope somebody else sells the house. The top realtors, I have a list of 144 realtors on my list. So I'll send out information. I just listed this. They know how good a realtor I am. They know I have great quality houses. That's how it is. Not through advertising. A lot of realtors just market's the whole key. But you know what? I've been in business so long. I spent probably a few $100,000 advertising on magazines to the States and all that year. I've had one deal in history. But basically people, the average homeowner doesn't know. The average homeowner thinks, oh, well, this guy's going to put a brochure. We all do the brochures, we all do the same stuff, but this guy's going to do all this stuff. He's going to put a special flyer out, all this stuff. Gee, I'm very impressed. But just because a realtor can do that, how good is he as a closer? Closing is the most important deal. If you can't close the deal, I don't care how much money you spend on advertising. Right now, advertising is almost a total waste because there's so few buyers out there. We've never had fewer buyers in life than what we have today. So promotion. So this is where you need a good realtor now more than you ever do because they at least have the contacts. They have a chance to sell your house. The average realtor who just puts out a flyer has no chance to sell the house.
Have the restrictions of moving money out of China had an effect on the sale of high-end homes in the Vancouver area?
Yeah, it's a huge effect. Because they're trying, you can't blame China because they're taking all the money out. The Chinese market has dropped 7 or 8% last year over 2016 because it's harder to get the money out, plus what the government is doing that. So yes, that has a very large effect on the market.
Now the government's put a 20% foreign buyer tax on most real estate in BC where people want to live. Would a 20% tax stop people from China if they had the money?
Yes, sometimes it will, but a lot of these people, it depends on the expense. If the house is $10 million, they probably have $100 million in assets or whatever, so it might not. But they try and find a way around. They already have a relative here. They have part of their families here, so somebody in that part of the family will buy the house, and they'll find a way around that. If they have people that already live here and their family's already here, they find a way around it.
We'll have more with Allan Angell next on This Week in Money.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. A work program is planned for our Finland property that contains diamond-bearing kimberlite. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ADD, and the Frankfurt Exchange, symbol 82A1. Please visit our website at arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
I'm Brian Fowler, president of Blind Creek Resources Limited, listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, ticker symbol BCK. Blind Creek is focused in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and British Columbia. The company's key property is the Blend Project, one of the largest undeveloped lead-zinc-silver deposits in Western Canada, plus plans to advance the recently acquired, fully permitted historic Engineer gold mine in the Allan district of northwestern BC. Check us out at blindcreekresources.com.
This Week in Money is archived online at talkdigitalnetwork.com.
Welcome back to This Week in Money. I'm Jim Goddard. We're speaking with Allan Angell, one of the top realtors in Canada. He specializes in high-end real estate with Angell Hassman Realty. With interest rates on the rise, currency controls in China, new BC government regulations, and banks tightening credit, are we heading for the perfect storm in real estate?
Well, you look at the facts right now, it looks like there is. My guess right now, if you look at the sales and what's going on in Vancouver, West Van, January and February are going to be at an all-time low. All-time low. So yes, we're going to have problems for sure. But as I said, I'm hoping that maybe the market will stabilize because of the government regulations. The Chinese will say, okay, I know what the worst is going to happen. I'll step back in and buy. But yes, if you look at January sales, just to give you an example, in West Vancouver, we had 17 sales in West Van. The average is 54 for January. 54, we had 17. As of today, we're at 8 for February, and the average is 72. Vancouver West at 54 in January, which is an all-time low, and their average is 121. They're at 18 sales today, and the average is 174. But they must realize that 18 sales today, because it takes us until the middle of March to get all the sales in. The government will tell you what the sales were for on March 1st, but that's not the proper sales. So 18, that's 18 firm deals. We could have 25 that are subject that aren't there, so we don't know until the middle of March what it actually is. But my guess is that it's going to be record lows throughout the area.
Could we be in for real estate markets as bad or worse than the early 80s when interest rates were around 20%?
Well, my guess is I hopefully not, because, as I said, the Chinese, the positive is that they will not take the big losses, so they will hold on to their houses. Because what causes the market to collapse is that when you have people who have to sell, because I said earlier, I had a gentleman that, I gave him 8.9 at Christmas 207. By August 208, he sold for 465 because he was leaving the country and he was going. So it's sales like that cause the market to crash, because most of our high-end stuff is owned by, the Iranians or the Chinese now. They will probably hold their values more. So I do not expect the crash to be as bad as it was. They're going to hopefully stabilize the market. It's just going to be a lot slower. It's going to be hard on the realtors for sure.
Do the Chinese, once they've acquired real estate, like to hold on to it, so if prices drop, they'll still keep it?
Absolutely. That's what they do. Like, I had 5 offers this year to my Chinese client. They're all going to lose $200,000 or $300,000. I said, no, I'll just keep renting it. I'll wait and see. So that's a very strong plus for having the Chinese, the owners here.
When real estate markets collapse, do both the value of land and the home drop?
Well, the house will drop a bit, but mostly 80% of the land value.
Do the sales of high-end homes increase as the market drops in price?
No, because the truth of the matter is that the spread they drop in price, they do not increase. But what basically happens when the market is like this, it's a great time to buy a high-end house, because a year ago, if your house was worth $3 million and the house you wanted to buy, the high end was $6 million, that's a $3 million spread. You'll probably find now it'll be a $2 million spread. So now's a good time to be selling your $2, $3, $4 million house, because you're going to be buying the $7, $8, $9 million house. You got to realize there's only one sale a month in that range. So you're going to be buying those. The spread between your sell and your purchase is a lot less, probably 25 to a third less than what it was when the market was stable.
What would be needed to get high-end real estate back on its feet with higher prices and increased volume?
Kick out the NDP.
Especially in these markets, how important is it for people to seek out an informed realtor?
Well, it amazes me, because this is one of the things this is probably the most striking thing in my line of work, because if I'm sick, I get the best doctor I can. If I get sued, I get the best lawyer on the planet. So when your house is your biggest investment, why you just go with, my friend John has a son who's I'm going to use him. We all have to have a start. I had to have a start. I couldn't even say my name. I started so bad and everything else, but you have to work through it. But this is the biggest investment you have. If you don't use the best realtor that knows what is going on, and fortunately, most of them don't, because the board stats they're not that they're not truthful, they are, but they don't tell the whole story. And if you don't do your own stats, you don't know the whole story. So this is the most crucial time you'll ever see in having the best realtor you can get, because that person, and there's only a few of those, unfortunately, that know that everybody knows the market's softer. But the truth of it is that you need help in closing the deal. You need help in closing the deal, and you need someone who's got their pulse on the market, what it's doing. I check every sale that goes through. I need to know what culture it is, what everything, who the buyers are, who the sellers are. I want to analyze that. So this is more crucial now. 1981 was the same thing. I was the top realtor in Canada in 1980 in sales. The market crashed in 81. By March of 81, I was only third in my office of 22. I said, well, how good it was last year. I was number one in Canada. Now I'm third in an office of 22. You have to change how you sell houses. I'm having to change now and analyze every stat that goes through. So I'm so prepared. I have all the answers. So yes, the realtor now is more crucial than it's ever been.
Allan, you said you need to have a good realtor. How do you know you have a good one, and how do you find out?
Well, it's tough. It's tough because first of all you gotta have a realtor in the area that you live. So you can always find out through advertising. You find out who's over the years who sell the most houses in your area. Now, does that guarantee that realtor is the best? Most times, yes, that there's a good chance it is. But sometimes people make money in spite of themselves. They aren't the best. So you need to talk to friends and see who that they have used, who they trust. Talk to your buddies at the golf club. Who's your realtor? Who do you believe? Who should we use?
What's the biggest mistake people make when picking a realtor?
They go, this guy's going to spend so much money on promotion and advertising, I'm going to use him or her.
Does that promotion make a difference in the sale?
Not with the market today, no. When the market's great, what the promotion does, we all do it through it because you have to build up. So homeowners are basically normal people. So if they see a realtor that puts out all this promotion stuff, they want to use that person. That realtor may not be able to close a deal, but he's sure good at putting on flyers. And that's why they use these guys. So we have to promote because we got to get new business. And because people don't know, they think, well, this guy must be successful. We have a chap, and he promotes, and promotes more than anybody I know, but only did 5 sales in West Vancouver last year. But the general public in West Van probably thinks he's one of the top realtors in West Van. So sometimes you are misled. It's not promotion. It's how many houses have they said you have? How many houses have you actually sold? And I break down all my sales. I know how many houses I've sold in every area I work. There's Caulfield, there's Ambleside, British Properties, everything. So that's what you do. You got to ask the proper questions, not just be overwhelmed by, put your house in a magazine, we'll lay it on the coffee table. That's good for getting the listing on person's house, but it doesn't help sell the house.
With the BC government putting so many restrictions on owning a high-end home now, would that discourage entrepreneurs from moving their businesses to BC because they would like a nice house to live in, I would imagine?
Yes. I mean, the biggest issue we have is, as I said, I don't know why people would not have the proper government and power, because when you have the NDP and now it helps it, now they're trying to help this and help that, but really it hurts business. Look at the tax they're putting on that. Now the little business has to pay a health tax on that. So yes, it hurts businesses from moving in. Two of my clients who have a lot of business, they said, well, that's going to hurt us a lot. So yes, the government is very important, because you've got to realize the government's just a bunch of average individuals trying to run your province.
Do Chinese investors who want to move here feel they're being discriminated against because of all these new restrictions on real estate?
Absolutely. I give seminars to the Chinese. What amazes me, I can put a seminar out, and I can say, all my Caucasian clients, come and listen to me. I'll give you an update. I'll give you the honest truth about the market, not what you hear on the news hours or not what you see in the press. But, we just buy a house. We want to live in a house and be happy. You get very few. I put out a seminar for the Chinese probably once every month, a month and a half. They're lined up to get there because they love real estate. That's their business, real estate. They want to know everything there is about it. So so they're a different breed than us.
Do they have long-term plans for their property?
Yes, I have a few of them that own a few houses, and they're going to keep them and rent them out, and they're going to keep them for years and rent them out and sell at the proper time.
Some people have felt if there was a financial crisis in China, Chinese people here would sell off their real estate at any price to go back and take their money back to homeland. Would that happen?
I don't believe that for a minute, no. Because it goes against, as I said, I cannot convince the Chinese to take a loss on a house. They just don't want to do that. So it would have to be a major disaster in their family for them to do that. So I can't see that, because their money is safe here. They're safe here. Every Chinese person I deal with is happy here, and they feel the government is discriminating against them because, they've brought up the price of housing here. It's not just the Persians and the Chinese.
Is there a feeling that if you buy Vancouver real estate, even the high-end stuff, that eventually prices will stabilize and start climbing again?
Always does. I've been a realtor since the 70s. I've seen it go. 1981, prices went to half price. I sold a house for $800,000. Next year, I sold it for $317,000. 2008, same thing. I sold a house. The prices went down 35, 40%, and so they will go down again. I mean, my first waterfront sale I sold in West Vancouver in 1973 for $110,000. I made $7,000. I doubled in the listed, so I made $7,000. I thought I was rich. In 2008, I sold a house 2 or 3 doors away from there for just under $30 million, which was the biggest sale in Canada at that time. And so, yes, it'll go up because it's still a great place to live.
So
you don't have to lock your doors.
Should we look at real estate as a long-term investment in Vancouver, even if the market dips? Hold on to it.
You buy today. I tell people, if you're buying as an investor, if you're there's any chance on earth that you have to sell it in the next year, maybe 2 years, you do not buy. If you know you're going to be able to hang on to it for 5, 10 years, you're safe. So as an investor, sure, because there's some good deals, right? There's going to be good deals coming on here, so you should be buying those. You just have to be careful which area you buy in, and that's why you need a skilled realtor, not a realtor from outside the area who doesn't know the area. You need someone who knows the area well. This is where you should be buying. My biggest client, I met in 1973. I started in 72. I've sold them 62 houses. I told them when they should buy, when they should sell, what they should buy, and they become very well off because of that. So those are the things you do. So yes, long-term investment, but if you have to sell it, chance you might sell in a year or two, you don't buy. And for the average homeowner who wants to move because they need a larger house now, or they're being transferred, or they just got to raise the job, you buy the house you want. It may not be the bottom of the market. We're a few months probably, I'm guessing we're probably 4 or 5 months off the bottom of the market. But you buy because it's going to go down a little bit more, But that's a house your family wants, your wife wants, you buy it, because you're going to live there for 10 years. It'll probably go up and down twice in that state. So it doesn't, don't worry about what is going on. Don't consider about, well, I have to wait. I got to buy it exactly above the market. Nobody knows exactly the bottom of the market. If you do it, buy at the bottom, it's a fluke.
Allan, how can people find out more about Angell Hassman Realty?
Well, my phone number is 778-888-7474, 778-888-7474, or my email address, allanmarkangell@gmail.com. And Allan is spelled A-L-L-A-N, Mark, M-A-R-K, Angell with an extra L, A-N-G-E-L-L. I'll gladly talk to people. I don't expect just because you call me, you got to put your house on with me. I love to talk about my business. I love it to death. There's nothing more. My wife and I came home after 3 weeks holiday at Christmas time because we both love doing it. Real estate is my life. That's all I wanted to talk about.
Allan, thanks a lot for being on This Week in Money.
Thank you kindly.
My guest has been Allan Mark Angell, one of the top realtors in Canada. His company, Angell Hassman Realty.
And that wraps up our show for this week. We'd like to thank our guests, Ross Clark and Allan Mark Angell, and thank you for listening. A reminder, at the end of the show, we'll have a company showcase update with American Manganese CEO and President Larry Reaugh. If you have any questions for the show or our guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. We'll be back next week with more This Week in Money.
Comments made on This Week in Money are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at talkdigitalnetwork.com. This Week in Money is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated. Executive producer is Tom Allan. Welcome to Company Showcase, an advertising feature on HoweStreet.com.
I'm Jim Goddard. My guest is Larry Reaugh, President and CEO of American Manganese. Welcome back to the show, Larry.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Jim.
What kind of financing update do you have for us today?
We'll be closing next week. I can tell you we're going to be oversubscribed. We're going to be well-financed. And the plan is that hopefully we won't be looking at another financing for a year and a half to 2 years because we have a lot of warrants coming due. And they should dovetail into this financing to keep the company active. So first big one is around $3 million. So that would take us through the rest of the year and into next year. But I just want to let people know that really the long-term plan is that we don't have to go back to the market for a while. And I expect that we will have some sort of an agreement with a fairly major company, hopefully in the next sometime this year. So again, that would eliminate needs to finance. There's other exciting things happening. You see that Apple is talking to Cobalt suppliers for supply of Cobalt. Well, all I can say is that we've seen this with Volkswagen. Other companies are talking about getting long-term contracts, but the problem is there's no Cobalt available. So I wish them all luck. And eventually they will turn to look at recycling. First thing about recycling is it's a much faster route to production of cobalt, lithium, or any of the other cathode metals than a mining operation. I've been in mining all my life. I know that these things can take, up to 7, 8, 9 years to get them into production. Smaller scale operations are much shorter, but you still have to go through the same permitting, the same getting permission from the federal government on water. It just goes on and on and on. And with the recycling, we could locate an industrial park anywhere in the world, as long as they've got water for the system, which we would reuse, and we have no waste streams. And this would come from the dealing with scraps or dealing with lithium-ion vehicle batteries. When it comes to the other types of batteries for handheld devices and iPhones, etc., then, recoveries may not. And I just say may not be in the 100% range. But we don't know that until we do it. Now, the other thing that's been happening with more and more frequency is the interest in manganese. As you know, that's where the company got its name, and that's where this recycling got its start, off of our manganese patent that we actually developed a process that competes with China cost-wise for producing electrolytic manganese metals and electrolytic manganese dioxide. We'd like to see the prices go up further, but I can see that that's going to happen here probably in the near future. Right now, the only one that could set up to meet demand and just put more production on stream is China. And but the move, especially in the United States, is to move away from imports. So I just want to let people know we haven't forgotten about our manganese project. That was taken right through to a pre-feasibility study back in 2012, and the price of the metal defeated the company at that time. So manganese is much on our radar. So I just want people to know that I probably will be doing some kind of an update on the manganese project that we did back in between 2007 and 2012, and to familiarize new shareholders with the fact that the company has another iron in the fire. And of course, we can't forget about our Cobalt project up in out of New Hazelton, central BC here, north central BC, that has got some high-grade cobalt that was shipped off of it, along with some very high-grade gold. And that will be worked on by our joint venture partner this year. So, all I can see in my looking glass is a lot of favorable things and that are going to happen for the company. It's like a perfect storm coming up. Shortage of cobalt, the interest now in recycling, another big report on recycling has came out, and they've talked about us as being a leader in the recycling, hydrometallurgical recycling sector. So we're getting that recognition. And I just want the shareholders to know that without them, we wouldn't be here. We need the shareholders, reaching in their pockets to put money in the company, including the insiders, and to keep this whole ship moving.
Larry, can you remind people where you're traded, under what symbols, and how they can contact the company?
We're traded on the Toronto Venture Exchange under the symbol AMY. We're traded in the U.S. under the symbol AMYZF. We're traded in Frankfurt, Germany under the symbol 2AM. And we're can be contacted, or you can go and do a lot of due diligence on our site at AmericanManganeseInc.com. You can contact the company or myself at LREAUGH@AMYMN.com, or give me a phone call at 778-574-4444.
Larry, thanks for the update.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with Larry Reaugh, President and CEO of American Manganese. I'm Jim Goddard. We were speaking on February 23rd.
Comments made on Company Showcase are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Archived online at HowStreet.com. Company Showcase is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.